My name is Naomi. I'm a grateful recovering addict. And I never aspired to be an addict or never thought I would be, but that's what it turns into. It started out experimenting with drugs, alcohol, marijuana. And, when you're in an experimentation phase, there's really no consequences to it, so you think it's okay to keep doing it. Well, when you keep doing it, then the brain needs more. The more you do more, then your body becomes dependent on it, and then you plateau at addiction. By the age of 14, I was then doing inhalants, cocaine, hallucinogens. By the age of 21, I was being prescribed opiates and benzos. Eventually, the pills didn't become enough. I was in a very violent and abusive, emotionally and physically, relationship. I compromised the person I was to live for somebody else. I let him mold me into the person that he wanted me to be. I was not myself, and because of that, I started to resent myself and hate myself, and I couldn't recognize the person that I was. So I wanted to escape. I got out of that relationship, and I was doing things on a daily basis. I was involved in criminal activity on a daily basis, doing things to support my habit. And because of those things, I got put on probation. I had tried rehab first to appease my ex, and then I did it because I was told to by my probation officer. So it was never truly a choice that I had made. It was because I was told to do so. Well, after that, I started shooting heroin, and I was getting carfentanil, and I became homeless. I was living on the streets. At this point, I thought I had no reason to live. I thought death was way better because the suffering that I was going through seemed so much more difficult, and that death would be the easy way out. My last overdose, I was completely coherent to everything that was going on. At first I could feel my heart slowing down, and then I couldn't breathe. I felt like I was suffocating. And I'm telling my brain, to tell my body, please, heart, beat, don't stop breathing. And I was petrified. I always believed in God. However, I felt like I was not worthy of his love because I was such a disgrace. But at that moment, I was like, please, God, I don't want to die. Please save me. I was in the middle of a dark alley at 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, and a stranger had Narcaned me and woke me up. And then a week later, I was arrested for violation of probation because I didn't go to court. And of course, I was so mad at first. I didn't want to be there. I was going through horrible withdrawal. But once you start to sober up a little bit and the toxins get out of your body, you start to think more clearly. And I started picking up my Bible, and I had a lot of self-reflection on why I was living the way I was living. And it was because a lot of the shame and the guilt and the embarrassment that I was carrying around. I regretted a lot of things that I did, and I thought I was a bad person for them. And now I understand I just made bad choices. One day the Holy Spirit spoke to me, and he said, "What makes you think that your transgressions are more powerful than my power to forgive?" And I felt like I was offending God to hold on to this burden when he died on the cross to save me from my sins. So I had to learn to let it go. Once I realized that, I went to court, and the judge gave me my backup time. So I sat in there for 4 months, and in that time, I was able to enroll in the JSAP program. It's a jail substance abuse program. One day, just completely out of the ordinary for me, I went to the director, and I was like, I think I need a long-term treatment facility, because if I go home, I'm gonna go back to the same people, places, things. And I was in addiction I used for 27 years. I knew nothing else. And she said, well, why don't you apply for Brooks House? I was like, okay. And it was literally maybe 2 weeks before I was being released, and she called me into the office, and she told me I got accepted to Brooks House, and I started crying because that was the first glimmer of hope that I had seen, that maybe there was something better for me, because I had accepted that I was going to be a drug addict for the rest of my life. God had led me He directed me to a path of people that believed in me, encouraged me, supported me, and gave me all the necessary tools that I needed to dig myself out of the grave, which I had dug for myself. I was accepted and I was treated like a human being. October 22nd, I'll have 3 years. Like, I'm a miracle to be sitting here. You know, despite my self-destruction, God had a higher purpose for me. Recovery is possible. There is hope. I am proud to say I'm a part of this community. And now, like, I can contribute to that and be, you know, what do they call that? A productive member of society. I'm like no longer part of the problem, but I'm part of the solution.